Okay, YouTubers, it's been a while since I put a video up, but I've been promising this one. This one is how I process um, rainwater, raw rainwater, to make it drinkable for our household. We drink the water, we bathe in the water, we wash the dishes in the water. And it's all very, very soft because it's rainwater. But you can't just drink it plain off the roof. I mean, birds poop on the roof, so you have to do things to make it what they call potable. You might see that term somewhere, potable water. Just basically means you can drink it. But behind me is my water processing center. Now, when I put this thing together, it was wintertime, so I was concerned with freezing. So I've got these, everything's inside, so I don't deal with any of the freezing. I just hand carry these 7-gallon containers inside that sit on this shelf, and the water gets pumped out of these containers into this bucket that has 4 Berkey gravity filters. And the Berkey gravity filters, they just filter down into this drum, and inside this drum it fills up. And I'm going to have to move the camera in a little bit to show you each component in the system, but it's comprised of passing through this filter, stored in this drum, through a bulk adapter and a valve down here. There's a steel braided hose, the kind you put under your sink or connect the toilet with. You know, it's a supply tube. And that goes into an RV style pump, a 120 volt model. They're available in 12 volt, but the 120 volt model has a lot better lifespan and they're quieter. This one, I got it hanging off cords to minimize vibration, so it's kind of just hanging. And this kind of looks like a disorganized mess because I had to slap it together real quick, but it works, you know. The RV style pump has a built-in pressure switch that cycles between 40 and 60 pounds. That goes into a 2-gallon pressure tank. Although you don't need the pressure vessel, the pressure tank does smooth the cycling a little bit on the pump. I believe it makes it last longer. After it goes through the 2-gallon pressure tank, then it comes through a 1-micron filter. Now, in one of my other videos where I show you how I clean my filters, you'll see one of those 1-micron filters. That's going to filter it down even further. And then, of course, after it gets to the 1-micron filter, rather, the final stage before it enters the plumbing in the house is a UV sterilizer. It uses wavelength C on the UV spectrum. And what that's going to do is it's going to kill anything that made it through that 1-micron filter and got through those Berkey gravity filters. If there's anything in the system at all that may still be alive, that's going to kill it. Okay, and it's going to make it safe. And then finally it enters through a valve into the household plumbing, which is just a polyethylene cross-linked tube. They're red and blue color coded. We don't have a water heater in the traditional sense because we batch heat our water for our showers, but that's another video. This one just feeds into the cold system, and we have a fill spigot for the shower, and it runs the sink. You've seen the sink in the other videos. Also with this right here, I need to know how much water is in this tank, and what I'll do is I'll turn off the light and I shine a really bright flashlight against the side here, and you can see the water line where the water is and isn't in this container when this light's off in this bathroom. And you can't see it in the video, but I've got graduated marks about every inch along this, and I know that each one of those represents about a gallon. So it has happened in the past where this has overflowed. And it's sitting in a cement mixing tub that I'll show you in a little bit. And what that cement mixing tub does is it catches those overflows. It has happened in the past. You don't mean it for it to happen, but it could have been a mess in the house, but the tub did its job. Also in this drum there's a air tube. I've got an air stone that keeps that water moving and circulating. That water needs to move, because if it sits just motionless, it gets really kind of a brackish odor. While the filters can filter out all the problems, they don't do so good at getting rid of that brackish smell. So to keep this water moving is really critical. And I've got another hole drilled in the back that the water overflows out of, and just to eliminate positive pressure in this drum. If I get positive pressure in this drum, then these filters will stop flowing. especially since I'm pumping air into this drum all the time with this air line and the air pump and the stone. So we want some place for that positive pressure to vent to so that these will continue to flow. That is a brief synopsis of the entire setup. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pause the video so I can grab the phone here and give you a closer, detailed picture of each individual component so you can see how each one of them works. There is a float switch in this bucket, and you'll see that in the portion of it working. And I did make a mistake when I was buying these float switches. I use the float switch so that this pump in here automatically pumps water into this bucket, so I don't have to keep adding it manually. So these filters will cycle water and process it for me even if I'm in the other room or not even here. But if you get a cheap float switch, it'll stick in the on position and overflow and just make a big mess, and it's happened to me before. So you go with a good one that's going to cost a little bit more. I went to Granger Supply and got it. I went to eBay first and got some black ones, and they were cheap. And sometimes you get what you pay for, because they did not work out that well because of the overflowing issues. It was a big old learning curve on that one. But with these ones that I got at Granger, they actually have been working flawlessly. So I'm going to go ahead and pause that video and get the phone in my hand. You don't have to look at me anymore, but I'll be able to give you a breakdown of the entire system and every component in it, and so you can understand how all this works together to give us drinking water. Okay? Just bear with me. Unfortunately, I don't know how to turn this thing around, so I'm just going to have to shoot the picture so you can see it.